YouTubers, I'm glad you're all here. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to be making vegetable chicken soup today. You can do different variations for different meats. I have already made beef, or vegetable beef the other day using hamburger. And here's some of the ingredients that I'm going to be using. You can basically put in whatever you want. In my last batch, I put in some summer squash, thyme, things like that. But this one I'm going to have my chicken and celery and onion. And it's going to be a lot. I'm going to put them in quart jars. And I'm going to be using my canned potatoes. And I'm also going to be using my chicken broth that I canned earlier last month. I won't have to cook the potatoes because they're already cooked, but I am going to cook the celery and also the onions. I'm going to fry them up before I add it. I'm going to do it a little bit different than what I did my vegetable beef. I'm going to put the chicken in the bottom of the jars, and then on top I'll add the hot soup that I'm going to make with all these ingredients. I got corn and beans and crushed tomatoes. That's probably about it, besides Italian seasoning and some Worcestershire sauce. I want to add too that I'm dumping out the liquids that my vegetables are in. You can use frozen vegetables, whatever is convenient for you. Yeah, but I don't want the added salt that's probably in there, so I am getting rid of all the extra juice. And when I need extra juice, I'm going to use my chicken broth is what I'm going to use. Yeah, right now I'm frying up the onion. I don't know if I'll put all of this in there, but and the celery to get that soft. And I'm going to do the same thing with the potatoes. I'm going to drain the liquid out of there and put it into my soup. It's up to you. My carrots are dehydrated. You can use fresh carrots and add those, but yeah, to save me work, I'm just going to add dehydrated. And when the water or the soup base heats up, they'll just plump up real quick. Alright, crushed tomatoes. Throw that in there. And next will be the condensed soup, which I'm not going to use water. Like I said, I'm going to use the chicken broth. This here is 2 onions that I cut up, and you've seen probably a half a package of celery that I put in there. And the oil that I'm using is olive oil. That would probably be healthier than any other type of oil. I like olive oil. So we're just going to cook these up until they start going clear. Maybe a little browning. And that's going to take a few minutes. Alright, that looks good. I'm going to put that in the soup. So I don't know if I'm going to use all of them. I might. I like onion in my soups. We'll see. Let's mix it up and give it a stir and see what it looks like. Yeah, I think I can end up adding them all, I think. Alright, gonna add the Worcestershire sauce. Back in the day, when I was a cook at an airport, we put Worcestershire sauce in everything. All the soups, I should say. And it's amazing how much a difference this makes. Yeah, so yeah, it's coming out kind of slow. More the better. Alright, and then we're going to add Italian seasoning. More the better too. It's a big pot. I can only do 7 quarts at a time, so I'm going to have to do a double batch. Alright, where's my spoon? Let's stir it up. Let it simmer for a little bit so the flavors go all through it. See the carrots. See how the carrots are, like I was saying, they were going to be plumping up. Yeah, see, they're plumping up already. They plump up real fast. The dehydrated carrots. Alright. Yeah, it smells yummy. Alright, let's add some garlic. Yeah, I have to buy some more fresh garlic. I ran out. You can basically add anything you want to this. Besides summer squash in my last batch, I also had asparagus that I put in there. Yeah, more the better. Lots of garlic. Yeah, it's smelling so good. Kind of like stone soup, right? I don't know how many of you know the story of stone soup. Yeah, that was a Depression era story. Man comes along and asked some people at the railroad, you know, they're right in the rails, if he could borrow their pot and use it to boil some soup. He was going to make some bone soup, or stone soup, excuse me. And yeah, it cooked, and he tasted it and goes, oh, that's good. Yeah, and in bewilderment, the people were watching. He goes, but you know what? If I had an onion, it would be so much better. So they contributed an onion, and he threw it in there, and he tasted it. He goes, oh, that is so good. But maybe if I had some carrots, you know, that would make it even better. So they contributed carrots, and so on and so on. And yeah, yeah, he ended up with a soup made from stones, but with the contribution of everybody else. Stone soup. My canner calls for 3 quarts of water, and I'm going to add maybe 2 jugs of clugs, or 2 tablespoons of vinegar. That way my jars don't get any type of discoloration from maybe the minerals in the water, or from the soup. You just don't know. Anyway, so I always do that. Another thing I always do is make sure the steam vent on my canning lid is clean. They can get plugged up from all the cooking, so I hold it up to the light and look in there and make sure it's clean. They suggest using a pipe cleaner to keep it clean, but I just use a bread tie. It's small enough where it can fit down in there to clean it out. And yeah, so that's how I clean it instead of using a pipe cleaner. My USDA cookbook does not have a recipe for vegetable beef or anything like that. But here we have chili con carne. And it talks, you can pause the video and read what it says. But it does have, let's see, beef, ground beef in it, chopped onions, peppers, yeah, chili, and tomatoes. Now this one is for, only shows pints. Pints wood process for my elevation at 11 pounds for 75 minutes. And if you're above 2,000 foot elevation, you can see here what it says. Now the other page is about canning ground or chopped meat. And so we'll come down here, or it says hot pack, pre-cooked meat until rare by roasting, stewing or browning in a small amount at a time. Add a teaspoon of salt if desired. It's not required. But if you go on down, it talks about filling the hot jars by boiling either the broth, meat drippings, or water, or tomato juice. And we got tomato soup. So I added 1 cup of chicken to each quart jar. And I'm going to add the hot vegetable soup to that jar. You can see it steaming. I think you can see it steaming. Let me stir it so I get all the vegetables up in there. Actually, what I think I'll do is just take 1 ladle and put it into the jars. And then I'll add the sauce. Seeing how the vegetables all want to sink to the bottom of my pan. We're going to do it that way. Yeah, you can see the onions and the carrots all plumped up. How much we got in there? Okay, that's probably good. Alright, we'll add the juice. It requires 1 inch of head space. Okay, and we'll debubble. And then this way too, I'm getting the chicken mixed in with there. Yeah, I'm messy. Grandma's messy. Okay, I can tell I don't have enough juice in there. We'll add some more. And let's see. A little bit more. Yeah, I'm being messy. Okay. Can you see it? Okay. And I'll take my cloth, which happens to be a paper towel. I'll dip it in my vinegar and clean the rims. I got my lids and rings over here. Set that on top. A little hard with one hand. And then do it finger tight. There we go. Alright, let me do the rest. Alright, got them all filled up. Rims white, debubbled, rings on. I got 7 quarts from 6 cans of condensed tomato soup, 2 quart jars of chicken broth, 1 can of corn, 1 can of peas, 1 can of beans, garlic, salt, onions, Worcestershire sauce, and Italian seasoning. I got a little bit left over. Not bad. Enough that this weekend my grandson and I will have for lunch. He'll really like that. Alright, so let's put the lid on. Lid is on, locked in place, and now we're gonna wait. I turned it up. We're gonna wait for it to heat up. Wait for this safety vent to pop up and lock. This one to pop up and lock. After it does that, we'll let the air vent out of the steam pipe for 10 minutes. After the 10 minutes, and only after the 10 minutes, I'll put the weight on. Let it come up to 11 pounds, and then start the timer for 90 minutes. I'll be back after these two have popped up so I can show you, and it starts venting. Alright, it's getting close. You can see this one's venting. That back one's venting. We got steam coming up, but it hasn't locked in place yet. It's doing what I call chattering, where it starts wiggling around. You see the water coming out. It should come up any second now. Alright, it's locked in place. It popped up on its own. And now we'll wait for 10 minutes to let the air come out of the vent for 10 minutes. Alright, my 10 minutes is up. So I'll put the weight on. It's still, ooh, I touched the side of the, the edge of the pressure cooker. Anyways, 10 minutes was enough time to make me a fresh cup of coffee, which we'll have. It's still brewing, but that's okay. Yeah, and I like my chocolate. I am a chocolate fanatic. I'll add that, and then I like vanilla. So, yeah, French vanilla I add. And then a little bit of sugar. Yeah, there's my, had some comments about it. It says, have a coffee. Do stupid things faster with more energy. I bought that a couple years ago. Came from the UK. So we got to give a shout out to those in the UK. Yeah. Alright. So we'll watch the weight, or the pressure, until it comes up to 11 pounds. Then I'll turn down the heat. Keep it at 11 pounds. It cannot go under 11 pounds during the 90 minutes that it will be processing. You can go over 11 pounds, but not under 11 pounds. So we'll start the time once it reaches 11 pounds. And it should be getting there pretty quick. Alright, so we'll start our time. It likes to climb rapidly. So we'll turn it down. In what I call the critical first few minutes, maybe about 5 minutes, I keep a constant eye on the pressure. Constantly dropping it a little bit more and a little bit more. Right now I got it down to probably medium. Eventually it'll be down to medium low. Eventually I'll have it. But we'll keep an eye on it so it doesn't drop too far, and I don't want it to go too high. Alright, we'll be back in 90 minutes. Alright, there they are. They're all done. I couldn't show you turning it off and opening it up. Had to take my grandson to the doctor. He's got a infection. He's going to be okay. They're just going to put him on an antibiotic and drink more water. But anyways, yeah, there it is. It smells good. Looks yummy. So when we got back from the doctor's, I pulled them out, and now they're sitting. They're going to sit there until tomorrow, and then I will give them a warm, soapy washing, remove the rings, date, and then put them into a dark, clean, cool spot where they'll stay there until they're needed. Alright, well, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you have any tips, please put those down below too. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.